We're going over the key lessons from this book, and we've modified them for the modern world. Lesson number 3 is to make your money multiply. Now, a friend of mine, mentor of mine, we've had on this show many times is Tony Robbins. And he wrote this book, Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom. And some of these principles are talked about in this episode as well. And he says that the worst exchange in the world is trading time for money. And obviously, if you're trading time for money and you're not maximizing that money, that's one of the worst things. So you really want to maximize the money you're making and figure out how to multiply that money in different ways. And I agree, for even when I was doing something I loved, playing professional football, I wasn't making a lot of money. I was doing the thing I loved, but I wasn't optimizing the money I was making. I was trading my time to play professional football. I was trading my time for dollars, and that was great, but I wasn't optimizing it to go to the next level. I wasn't using that money to multiply for me. So you got to find ways to multiply the money that you have. So no matter how much you're making or how little you're making, hourly wages will always have a ceiling on how much you can earn, because you can only ever be in one place at one time. So even though I was playing football and I was getting paid for that, it was limited to what I could make. So even if you're the highest paid consultant in your industry, you might be making a lot of money currently, which is great, but if you want to build long-term wealth, then you need to make sure you're generating passive income with that money that you're making, or at least moving towards it, and that's the key. I want you moving toward this. And this is the kind of money that you can multiply while you sleep. And I know many of you might be thinking, but Louis, I don't even have enough money right now to invest in real estate or buy a franchise or any other investments that might have an asset that we're typically thinking about when you hear the words passive income. And I hear you, I get it. I remember this feeling when I was barely making anything, so I understand. But there are other ways to make your money multiply, even if you aren't in the position to invest in those higher ticket assets like real estate right now. And one is looking into stocks, bonds, IRAs, index funds, mutual funds, and even a 401k. Now, some people might agree with some of these things and others might disagree, but you can really double down into these once you have your savings situated. So the savings first is key. But these don't require a huge amount of money upfront, and they compound over time. And one of the things I got into early on was index funds, and Tony talks about that in his book as well. And Tony often tells a story about how Warren Buffett, who's famous for his long-term investments like Coca-Cola, Gillette, See's Candy, and more, when Warren was asked what made him wealthy, first he credited his genes that made him live longer than everyone else. And second, he credited compound interest, meaning because he was patient and let his investments multiply over a long period of time, instead of taking them out when times were tough and the market were down, he was able to generate massive wealth. He lived a longer period of time, and he has been able to compound his interest. So the amount you put into these places can be $100 or $10,000 or whatever you can afford right now. And Ray Dalio, who we've had on and I mentioned earlier, he got his start in the stock market by investing the spare money he earned from caddying on a golf course when he was really young. He used that money and then he invested it in the stock market. So just like savings, the most important thing to remember when trying to make your money multiply is to be consistent. That's the key. And there are a ton of other ways to make passive income as well. And I'll end this section with an example from what I've done here at Greatness Media. So back when we first launched Greatness Media, if we wanted to make more money, it had to involve me in one way or another. I had to be working and making it happen. I had to be the one speaking at an event. I had to be the one reading an ad on the podcast. I had to be the one coaching a client and more. And don't get me wrong, we were doing well, but it was exhausting if it's always you doing the thing. And I was doing this for myself and also paying other people, so it all fell on me. I had to be everywhere and have my hands on everything in the process, and it was intense. Then I shifted our focus as a company to start creating scalable products that could make money without me being 100% involved every moment. And today we have membership programs like Greatness Academy and Greatness Coaching. We're investing more time into YouTube that makes more money on a recurring basis for us. We have dynamic advertising on the podcast, so it doesn't rely on just me each time, and evergreen content that continues to drive sales, and leads. And these scalable products allow us to keep growing no matter if I'm asleep, if I'm awake, if I'm traveling, if I'm at the gym, or taking a day off. And it's one of the most important and best decisions we've made as a business so far. And you don't have to create 5 new revenue streams today, but look at your current situation and figure out what the next best revenue stream could be and start there. And I've learned to create new ones over time, but it doesn't all happen at once. So that's lesson number 3. Moving into lesson number 4, I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. If you're over on YouTube, leave a comment below of what you're learning and how this is supporting you so far. And if you're listening over on the podcast, make sure to share this out with a friend who you think would be inspired by these money multiplying strategies. So lesson number 4, protect your money from losses. Now this point comes down to reducing the level of risk in your investment. You've heard it a lot when people talk about the stock market in playing the long game versus the short game. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, this can be a tricky one. As entrepreneurs, you've got to be willing to take risks. When it comes to building long-term wealth, we need to approach money differently. And before we continue, I want to tell you about a product that can help you on your investing journey, and that's Wealthfront. No matter your current situation, our sponsor Wealthfront can make investing easy, affordable, and accessible. They are pioneers in the automated investing movement, otherwise known as robo-advising. And it just takes a few minutes to sign up with Wealthfront to be on your way to a diversified portfolio that is tailored just for you. And once you open up and fund your account, Wealthfront software will manage it for you and employ expert strategies right away. They'll take charge of rebalancing to keep you at your desired risk threshold, as well as look for opportunities daily to lower your tax bill through their tax loss harvesting service. This is really cool. Investing in yourself and your future shouldn't feel like a full-time job. All you need is a few minutes and $500 to open an investment account, and Wealthfront does the rest. The annual management fee is 0.25% of your assets, and right now I'm partnering up with them to get you $5,000 managed for free forever. All you have to do is use my link invest.wealthfront.com/Lewis. Okay, now for the next lesson. And I had the opportunity to speak with a financial advisor and best-selling author Ramit Sethi a while back on the show, and he's master when it comes to the stock market and investing. And something he said really surprised me. He told me that he only signs in and checks his portfolio about once per month. He does this to avoid making short-term reactive decisions based on where the market's at. The market's up, the market's down, and reacting. And this goes back to avoiding buying something just because it's hot right now and focusing instead on more secure, stable, long-term investments. And since Ramit's accounts are all automated, he doesn't even have to think about where his money is going. He can sit back and let the long game work in his favor without lifting a finger, without having to check and react and obsess over these things. And this brings us to another important point when it comes to reducing risk, and that is diversifying your portfolio. And I know it can be fun to make daily trades and try to beat the system, and I get it, it can be fun. But the reality is some of the world's largest firms spend hundreds of millions of dollars on market research. So that's who you're up against. It's not a fair fight, I get it. So the best way to increase your chances of investments panning out is to diversify your portfolio instead of putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have some fun with Bitcoin and crypto and other less stable investments. You can. Try all this stuff if you want to. But Ramit and I were even talking about how we tried out angel investing for many years, and neither of us have ever earned our money back from it. It was a lot of fun, and we approached it as a gamble, not an investment or money we'd see in the future. And that's an important distinction to remember here. You don't want to spend money that you can't afford to lose. So even though I have tried a lot of different things with money in terms of investments, some things have worked and continue to work, other things haven't yet, like angel investing hasn't really paid off for me yet. For some people, that's where they generated a lot of their wealth. But that doesn't happen for everyone. So just like Bitcoin or crypto or NFTs have been massive for some people, it also means a lot of people have lost a lot of their money. And you just have to be willing to understand what you're investing in. You have to be willing to do the research. You have to be willing to know what you can and cannot afford to lose when you're investing your money, because there is no guarantee on any investment you make. So just be aware of some of these things and really try to diversify your portfolio. Lesson number 5, own your own home. Now this is kind of an analogy we want to bring here. We've all heard the importance of owning your home or your condo or your apartment that you live in. It's a stable asset that usually increases in value over time. So it's a good idea to eventually own it. Dave Ramsey talks a lot about this, but the principle doesn't necessarily mean it has to apply to real estate. It can also apply to business investments as well. And there are some people that say, you shouldn't own your home right away. You should take that big chunk of money and invest it in yourself first. And once you really have another level of savings and income, then you can own your home. So really just you want to understand where you're at when it comes to real estate, owning your home. But the analogy is you want to own your home by investing in yourself. So whatever industry or career you're in, you should aim for some type of ownership. And this is your own skill set. This is a part of a company. This is building your own company on the side. And this goes back to the passive income point and making your money multiply. And if you're in a position at work to get a stake or some shares or some equity at the company at some point, then great. It could be an effective way to do this. Or if you wanted to build something on your own on the side, that's a way to do this as well. And if you own a business, this can mean investing money back into the company to help it grow faster and further. Even if you aren't in one of those positions right now, we all have the opportunity to become partial owners of a company through the stock market. This is where a lot of people build their wealth. You may not be able to buy into the company you work at. You may not start your own company, but you can invest some of your money into the stock market. And David Bach says there are only 2 escalators to building long-term wealth: real estate and the stock market. So if you haven't already, start to empower yourself by getting involved in either one of those. And it doesn't have to be much. And you can start with as little money here and then build up to your portfolio and increase your investments over time. And this will allow you to accumulate wealth over the long term. That's what this is about. For me, some of my best investments have been putting money directly back into this business, into my own home. My home is this business for the sake of this example. And whether that's hiring new team members to join Greatness Media, whether that's, buying software to save us time and money, hiring consultants to improve our processes and workflows, the list goes on and on. These investments have paid dividends for me and our business. And you won't always see the return on the investment right away, just like the stock market or real estate. But over time, the value and impact is massive. And I'll give you an example. We invest in so many different things. For example, on YouTube, we hired a team, we brought in people to film, people to edit. We bought the equipment to film all of our videos for 5 years before we started making any money on YouTube. So we had all this content and we finally turned on advertising after 5 years of publishing content 2 or 3 times a week. And the returns finally came in 5 years later. So it doesn't always happen overnight. Again, just like the stock market and real estate, but investing back in yourself is always a good thing. So I challenge you to look at your own life and ask yourself where you can adopt the mentality of ownership, of being an owner, and where can you gain equity in a company or become a partial owner of an asset versus always trading just time for money. Start there and also start thinking of investing and owning pieces in different ways, the stock market or shares in real estate and things like that. Lesson number 6, ensure a future income. So we've already talked about making passive income and the importance of setting aside money for long-term investments to have recurring revenue flowing in. So I'll hold off on repeating myself there. But in addition to that, there are a couple other ways to ensure a future income that I want to talk about. The first is investing in yourself. This is massive. The best way to ensure you have a future income is to make yourself recession-proof by continuing to learn new skills and building a strong personal brand. We talk about this in Greatness Academy, which I'll share with you more in just a moment. And there are a lot of ways to do this. And it doesn't mean you have to try to get 1 million followers on our Instagram or become famous on TikTok. It could be as simple as creating a website to showcase your designs if you're a graphic designer, and networking with other designers in your local area at meetups or conferences and events. And if you're a business coach, it could mean posting videos on YouTube, showcasing your expertise. And I know a lot of you will hear that and you'll think, well, Louis, I've done that, but I haven't gotten a lot of views or shares or comments. And I understand. I won't lie to you and say numbers don't matter at all, but they're not the most important part. Even if you don't get views or shares or likes, publishing content that's aligned with your personal brand shows you're passionate about it, and it could set you up for future success. It shows you care about the work you do, and it allows others to be able to see that as well. Nobody paid attention to the content I put out for a long time, but consistently showing up for over a decade has led to me living my dreams and being on the path to accomplishing all my goals and really setting me up for financial freedom. The days of old-fashioned resumes are over. Nowadays, everything we publish online is a resume. So that YouTube channel we started is a part of your resume. Our LinkedIn profile is a resume. Our website, our Instagram, TikTok, all these things, they're part of our resume. So be productive and proactive and start building your personal brand based on it. Don't rob the world of your talents. That's what would be selfish. Be proud of the work you do and showcase the gifts you were given. And it might seem like doing that won't help you much in the short term, and maybe it won't. But believe me, in the long run, it's one of the best things you can do for yourself to really ensure your future income is guaranteed and recession-proof yourself by building your personal brand. And another way to ensure a future income is launching a side hustle. And as of right now, 1 in 3 people in the United States have a side business, and another 25% are planning to start one in the next year. So you'd be in good company if you decided to launch one if you haven't already. Using your nights and weekends to build up another source of revenue for you can help provide a financial cushion if you lose your job or if the economy goes through another recession like the pandemic. And it can also provide you with more money to put into your savings, your stocks, your bonds, real estate, or wherever you're investing right now. Lesson number 7, increase your ability to earn. Now we've made it to the final lesson, and it's an important one, so make sure you pay attention. If you continue to increase your ability to earn as your career goes on, you'll be able to have more money in the bank and more money to put into your investments. So how do you start making more money doing the same things you're already doing now? Well, if you have a business or a side hustle that you're currently running, I always tell people that there are a handful of ways to do this. Number 1, you can increase your rates or prices right now. If you're a consultant who has 10 clients, then increasing your price can allow you to earn more while potentially working less. And this gets easier as you gain more experience and recognition in the industry you work in. A strong personal brand also helps a lot with this and makes it easier to charge more when people know who you are. And number 2, you can increase the number of leads or prospects your business has. So the more leads you have, the more potential for sales you'll have as well. And there are a million ways to go about getting more leads, but it all starts with marketing and advertising. Begin thinking about which social media platforms you can start running ads on to target your specific audience. What sort of content can you create and package into a webinar, an ebook, or an online course? Begin there. Number 3, you can improve your business's processes and workflows. And this is done through automating and optimizing the more repetitive processes first and continuing on from there. Luckily, there are so many incredible tools on the market today to help streamline virtually any process you have. It just comes down to research and investing in the right ones for your specific situation. And remember that time is money that you can never get back if you spend it poorly. Number 4, you can increase the number of products you sell. So more products, of course, leads to potential more sales for your business. As long as those new products solve a real pain point for your customers, this can be a great way to increase your income. And number 5, lastly, you can improve the quality of people on your team. Now, having an experienced, dedicated team is one of the best investments you could ever make for your business. It'll buy you back your time. It'll allow you to focus on what you're good at instead of stretching yourself too thin, trying to do everything at once, and help pave the way for exponential growth. Another huge opportunity to increase your ability to earn more money is to never stop learning. This is one I take to heart, and it's a key to my success. Year after year, I invest in coaches to help me improve in the areas of my life that I find most important. And at any given point, I'll have a coach for working out. I've got a Spanish coach to learn Spanish. I've got a therapist, business mentors, financial advisors, and many other coaches. I'm always looking to invest in that support. And I take learning seriously, because if I'm not always learning and improving my skill sets, then I feel like I'm regressing. And that's why you'll see me on every episode of the School of Greatness with a pen and a notebook, ready to take notes as the people we have on share their advice, their strategies, and their life lessons. And if you're looking to take your learning to the next level, we actually just launched a membership community of growth-minded entrepreneurs called Greatness Academy. And members receive access to over 100 hours of trainings with me and some of the world's leading experts in their fields of online marketing and sales and growth. And every month, we bring you a new training and a live Q&A session with Team Greatness. You'll also gain access to a supportive community of other conscious achievers just like yourself, looking to improve in other areas of their lives. And we're already seeing incredible things happen to those who have joined, and I'd love for you to experience the same life-changing results. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, then I highly encourage you to check it out, and you can go to lewishowes.com/academy to learn more. I'll also have it linked in the description below. And there you have it. We got through all 7 secrets to building long-term wealth for you, your family, and your loved ones. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, these principles came from this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So be sure to give it a read if you found this episode valuable. Again, we took some of these concepts and we kind of reshaped them, reframed them for the modern time. We also had this book that I talked about, Money Master the Game, from Tony Robbins. So make sure you check this out. This is incredible. A lot of stuff I learned here about investing in index funds. Really cool strategies here about index funds that I started investing in about 5 years ago that I've seen incredible results year after year. So something there as well. I also highly recommend, if you're just getting started, checking out The Millionaire Morning. This is a book we wrote a few years ago that so many people love. Keep getting this book every day. We get sales here and people love this. This is about the mindset of millionaires in the morning, what they do with their morning routine to really help them set themselves up for success with the mindset, the habits, the rituals, and routines in the mornings. This is what the wealthy people do in their morning. Check this out. You can go to millionairemorning.com. This is a quick read with some exercises and examples as well. And I'll leave you with this final thought. I want you to always remember that the world makes room for passionate people. And this is something I believe so deeply, and I've seen happen time and time again. So whatever it is that you do, whatever it is you're most passionate about, whatever lights you up and excites you, bringing joy to that work will pay off for you big time in the long run. The more excited you are about what you're doing, the more people will be excited to work with you.
Napoleon Hill wrote that in Think and Grow Rich. He said, if you are one of those people who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought, it is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, never come as a result of hard work. They come, if they come at all, in response to